FM26 is out now on console, and as ever, I'm going to go out and make sure I play every single version of this game that is released. So I've downloaded it on my Xbox, which the controller probably doesn't need to be plugged in for anymore, mainly because it's available on Game Pass for Xbox. If anyone really desperately wants me to play it on PS5 as well, feel free to donate the £50 it costs, because I don't really want to pay £50 for a game I already own. So yeah, Xbox it is. We're going to have a first look through it. I haven't played any FM26 console at all. Unlike on the PC version of the game, I've had no early access, no sneak peek, early look stuff. I'm going into this effectively completely blind, other than the fact that obviously we're all kind of expecting it to look an awful lot like the PC version that we've been playing for a few weeks now. There has been some information shared on the Football Manager website this evening, so I'll just show you this first because it's going to answer a lot of questions that a lot of you are going to have. Then we will have our first look at FM26 console. So this Football Manager 26 out now across platforms thing, just basically announcing that it's out on everything apart from Switch. It doesn't come out on the Switch until the 4th of December, so a month today. But the bit that I thought you'd find interesting and is going to answer a lot of questions is this handy little table which does a comparison between FM26, which is the PC version, FM26 console, which is the one on Xbox and PS5, FM26 Touch, which is the Apple Arcade version, and FM26 Mobile, which is available only through Netflix. There will be standalone videos on Touch and Mobile coming at some point over the next 24 hours, so I won't go into them in any detail now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see those videos, and I will do a video on the Nintendo Switch version when that comes out on December the 4th. That's officially being branded as Touch. I don't think that means it's necessarily going to be the same specs as the existing version of Touch. We'll talk about that in the Touch video. Also, keep an eye out for my Steam Deck video too, because lots of people have asked how the PC version plays on Steam Deck. But I digress. The stuff you want to know about: how does FM console compare to FM? Slightly fewer playable leagues. I don't know what the 8 leagues that are missing are, but there's 8 leagues missing. It is the same number of playable nations, but these are the questions I always get. You are still going to have limits on what you can do on FM console compared to the PC version. So you are limited to 10 nations per save, rather than just being able to load up unlimited amount. It is 10 nations, which is up a lot from where it was a few years ago, but still not ideal if you want to play a massive save like you would on a PC. The database size is also significantly smaller. I'm not even entirely sure why. I guess a load of the unplayable teams that can be unlocked with mods on PC, they just don't bother putting them in the database for console, presumably, like your tier 8 English teams, that kind of thing. It is made with Unity and is going to look a lot like the PC version, as you'll see in a second, and the maximum career length is still in there, so you are limited to a 30-year career on console. Cross-play still exists between Xbox and PlayStation, so you can play with your mates across different consoles, and FM26 console on Game Pass is playable on PC, as is FM26 PC. They're both on Game Pass separately, I think. I'm now checking that. FM26 PC is available via Game Pass. FM26 console is available on Xbox. Okay, so FM26 console is not available on PC. They're both on Game Pass, but on PC, you play the PC one. On Xbox, you play the Xbox one. That's straightforward. I understand that. Let's have a look at the game, shall we? And the first and most obvious difference of the console version compared to the PC version is on this main menu when you first load up the game. There is a store, and there is this stuff that isn't available if you're playing on PC. It's the kind of stuff you can do with the editor and with mods on PC, but you can do, like, you pay a little bit of DLC to, like, you can pay £4.48 to transfer one player from another team to your club, £5.99 to get a £200 million transfer boost. I mean, this stuff, do people do this? This stuff is insane. Little microtransactions for transfer boost, which presumably only work in the one save game. You can buy a magic sponge, which will heal all injuries in your team for £1.49. Yeah, the team rest for £2.99. Genuinely, this stuff is insane. Make yourself unsackable for £2.99. I'm so glad this stuff isn't on the PC version. But I guess if you want to use it, it's there. One thing that is missing is the challenges, which were the best bit of all this. They're not in there anymore, but you can still, for £1.49, buy yourself a golden generation. So there's that. So now back into that main menu, and we can start our career. And the first thing we need to do to start our career is to create our manager. If you want to see the manager mode in detail, or the manager creation mode in detail, I have been through this in my beginner's guide video that I released a few days ago. And on first inspection, it does look like the manager creator is absolutely identical on console compared to what it is on PC. So I think a lot of that beginner's guide first day in FM26 video tutorial series that I'm doing, although I'm making it on PC, I think a lot of it is going to be equally as relevant for any of you who are playing the game on console for the first time. So like I say, if you want to see me go through all of this stuff in detail, jump over, watch those guides. It is exactly the same. But for the benefit of the people who are just here to see how the game plays on console, we're going to just skip through this and I'll meet you at club selection. So it is worth noting that when you're setting up your leagues, the men's and women's leagues take up a slot each. So although it was on that table showing as 10 nations, if you want both men's and women's leagues loaded, you'll actually only be able to have 5 nations. So that is worth bearing in mind. Of course, if you only want men's or women's loaded, you can set either of them to none, and it will take you back down to just using 1 slot. For the purposes of this, we're just going to set it up with England, loading the men's and the women's, and then we should be able to pick a team. And as you can see, I have been appointed as manager of Liverpool, and it all looks absolutely identical to how it works on PC so far. So again, what I was saying before about if you want to have first look stuff, I mean, this is, the interface is identical, the menus and everything are absolutely identical, and I think it does kind of confirm that the PC version has very much been built with this console navigation system in mind, where you can use the trigger buttons. It is going to pop up tutorials because we're loading up the game for the first time. I do recommend you do the tutorials. I've played the game on PC for the last several weeks, so I don't need to go through all of these tutorials, but you can use the trigger buttons to move around those top level menus, and then within those top menus, you can then navigate into these different areas. You can use the D-pad to navigate around your various elements of your messages, and if you want to, you can turn a cursor on. I forget how you do it. Do you hold, yeah, if you hold down the left trigger button, you can turn on a cursor, so you can control it similar to how you would on a PC if you want to. You can also plug in a keyboard and mouse to your Xbox, to your PlayStation, if you want to control it that way. So what I'm looking for really is any differences between what we have on PC and what we have on console. It looks like because we're playing in 4K, we still get the 12 bookmarks that we get on PC. So that isn't a significant difference. If we go into our squad, one thing that does appear to be different is we don't have a separate breakdown of our youth teams the way that you do on PC. So similar to what we've had on previous versions of FM console, it looks like we have a slimmed down version of the youth setup. There are still some young players identified, but we've not got like proper youth squads and youth fixtures, at least not in the same place they are in the console version. If we go into training, it looks like again we have the traditional slimmed down console version of training rather than the version of training that we have on the PC. So it looks like it's slimmed down in the same areas that it's always been slimmed down to compared to the PC. Oh, we can do some proper delegation. Oh, there you go. I've earned an Xbox achievement for doing some proper delegation. If anything, that's the most appropriate achievement I could ever earn. And we actually have some proper staff, which is more detail than we've been able to have on the console versions previously. We can do proper backroom staff adverts. So that's a little bit new and a little bit different. That's quite quite cool, I guess. That's progress. One of the other big things, of course, that's in FM26 is the new transfer room integration stuff when it comes to transfers. So there's no director of football recommendations anymore. It's all operated via transfer room, which is all present and correct. And in the player database, this is where you'll have your player search screen, and also your list of scouted players lives within here as well. And then you've got your budgets and whatnot in here. So almost everything is exactly the same as it is on PC. You'll be spending a lot of your time in the portal, navigating around messages that come in through these menus. They'll then point you into the right sections of the game. But yeah, aside from one or two things like a little bit of training stuff, a little bit of youth team stuff, can we do multiple tactics? Yeah, it's even given us that from PC, so we can actually have multiple tactics being trained, which has been something that's previously been missing from the console version. And as you can see, we have got the in and out of possession. I've pressed the wrong button there. We have got the in and out of possession mechanic that is new to the PC version, has made it to the console version as well. So we've now got tactic 1 and tactic 2. We can add a third tactic if we want to. So that's given us a little bit more depth compared to what we've had on the console version in the past. So, I mean, I know the PC version has had an awful lot of criticism because it's been slimmed back and dumbed down, is the phrase being used, and clearly has had a console control system forced onto it. And all those criticisms are valid for the PC version, but when it comes to playing the console version, this seems like a huge leap forward if it actually plays well, because the UI has been built specifically for a controller. It actually seems to work quite intuitively and seems to make sense. It's added features that we've not had previously. Yes, it's not got everything that's on PC. It's still got some of the restrictions that it's had previously, but it's closer to PC than it's ever been, with less limits and less annoying limits. Now we just need to see how a match plays, and if the match plays well, because the new match engine is the best thing about the move to Unity that Football Manager has done. So if the match engine looks as good on console as it does on PC, I would go so far as to say this is actually significantly better than FM24 console, as opposed to the PC version where 26 isn't as good as 24. And I think that's probably a fair first impression. Should point out, and I know I'm quite far in now to point this out, this is not a review. I am literally looking at this game for the first time, and these are my first impressions. If you want a full review, you're going to have to wait until I've put some proper time into it. But my first impression is I am obviously navigating it quite easily because I've spent a lot of time with this UI on PC, so I know my way around it by now, but it's very intuitive on a controller. I do kind of see what they mean when they taunted the PC lot and told them to plug a controller in, because you know what? It does work. It does work quite well. I'll say it quietly because the PC lot might be listening. It does work quite well with a controller, which is alarming because it looks exactly the same. What is this? Mindset. What is this? I don't know what this is. This is different to what's on the PC. So we set standards that players need to uphold day to day. You'll have a chance to change your principles once every time you join a new club. So this stuff isn't in the PC. I've never seen this before. So we can set 3 mindset things. I'm interested into how this works. Have we had this in console before? So we want some resilience, resilience, respect, and consistency. There you go, we'll do that. I wonder what auto select would have been. Resilience, adaptability, perfectionism. We don't want perfectionism. No, I think respect and consistency. I had it right the first time. That's quite cool. So there's actually features on console that we don't even have on the PC. And that was quite cool. I quite liked that. Right. Let's go and play a match. Right, so we've made it through to the first game of the season. I've not done any transfers or anything like that. I just wanted to get into a match and get a match played. So I've picked my team as the Premier League licence is in the game. Of course, it is the first game of the season that Liverpool actually had in real life. So away, was it away against Bournemouth? They certainly played Bournemouth. I remember sitting in a Slough hotel room watching it on my phone. Yes, proceed to the match. And it should have all of the very fancy Premier League graphics and stuff that are in the PC version as well. I have turned off the sound because I'm old and I don't need loads of sound blasting out of my ears at me through my games console. But it does have match sound and stuff on if you want match sounds. And yeah, there we go. We have all the... oh dear, that wasn't ideal, was it? We have a lot of the Premier League prettiness. There was a little bit of glitches. I mean, I am playing this on a Series S Xbox rather than the Series X. Shouldn't make a difference. It should play just as well on both, but it looks like those transitions between screens, it doesn't like at all. But we've got all of the official Premier League graphics and whatnot in, and let's, I guess, see how the game plays. Yeah, pretty graphical stuff. All looks very nice, and certainly in match looks absolutely identical to the PC version. The interface is exactly the same, and again, the interface makes so much more sense on a controller because you can use the right stick to flick through what's on those panels. It's I know this is supposed to be my first look at the game on console. It's actually annoying me a bit how comfortable and easy it is on a controller on a console, because it's some of the frustrations we've got on PC, and I like the PC. Well, I'm one of the few people who is enjoying it. I like it, but I can see that some of this stuff is just made for this version of the game. And if you're a console player, you win. I mean, this is great for you. Other than the fact that obviously, as we saw on some of the graphical stuff, it is a little bit glitchy. And I have seen some reports on Twitter of a few bugs and things that, I mean, there are going to be bugs in the game. For those of you who aren't in the Football Manager loop and are not aware of what's gone on over the last couple of years, because obviously last year we didn't have a game at all, and this year the game has been completely rebuilt in a new engine. It's built in the Unity engine now. The entire game has been rebuilt from top to bottom, and as a result it is a little bit buggier than we would normally expect it to be. It's pretty obvious it's being released because it's got to be released now, rather than it being released because it's ready necessarily. And there is promise of patches and updates and bug fixes as time goes on. So obviously, if you're playing it on Xbox Game Pass, you're in the ideal situation of being able to just check in on it every now and again after every update, and you're not really losing anything. If you've spent £50 to buy it on PlayStation, I can imagine that would be a little bit more frustrating. There's a reason I'm playing it on the Xbox rather than the PlayStation this year. For example, I think my FM24 first look video I did do on PS5. But I mean, actual in-match graphics, match engine, physics stuff looks as you would expect it to, because it is exactly the same. It is the same version that is on the PC, and there are so many areas where it's just come so much closer together to what we now have on the PC, and I really like how these panels work with a controller. Annoyingly so. I still want some customization on PC, but I think as a first entry into this new version of Football Manager, which is how it's kind of being built, this is the canvas they're going to build the next 20 years of this game on. I think this is a really solid starting point for a console game, and obviously we'll need a few more tweaks as far as the PC version goes to maybe separate it from some of this stuff that clearly does work better here than it does on the version that I've been playing for the last couple of weeks. It's a very scrappy match. We're playing a vertical tiki-taka, for those of you wondering. A vertical tiki-taka, 4-2-3-1 in possession with Wirtz in behind Isak, and a 4-3-3 out of possession. And certainly if you haven't had the joy of the new match engine and the in possession, out of possession tactical stuff yet, it is such a huge leap forward. For every bit of frustration that you'll find in the UI, and you will find frustration in the UI, and you will find bugs in the game. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the reviews that have come in and it's not been reviewed very well. The one area that you will enjoy is the match engine and the tactics stuff in the new version of the game, because they are a huge leap forward, and fingers crossed the foundation that the rest of a good game can be built around. That's what we've got to hope for. I just want to see a goal. I don't need to necessarily sit and watch the whole match. Like I say, if you're watching this because you're only a console player and you want to see what the new game is like and you want to see more match engine stuff, more navigating the UI stuff, I promise you, just go and watch any of the videos on my channel. Yes, they were all filmed on the PC version over the last couple of weeks, largely on the beta, but it's the same game. It is the set for the first time ever. It's basically the same game. I've already shown you what the differences are. Let me know down in the comments if you found any more differences. But yeah, I think you can, for the first time ever, follow along with a Let's Play series, follow along with a tutorial series, and it makes sense and it be the same game. And tactics that work on PC are going to be the same tactics that work on console. Players who are good on PC are going to be the same players who are good on console. So certainly from a content for you perspective, there's loads more of that, because suddenly the whole world has opened up to you being able to consume all the PC content and feel like it's actually made for you, which is quite cool. I don't feel the pressure to make a load of console content that I usually get at this time of year, because unless I make it explicit in the video, I guess you've got some of the little clues like the controller buttons showing up on the menus at the top of the screen up here. But that aside, you wouldn't know. At a glance, you just wouldn't know, because it looks exactly the same. Right, we're only going to play through till half-time, because I don't want this video to be super long, because I still need to record my mobile and my touch videos as well. If there is anything that you would like me to look at in a little bit more detail on the console version that you feel like I've missed or maybe glossed over, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'm not against doing a part 2 of my first look, a second look, if you will. And if you feel like there's scope for a whole standalone review of the console version in a couple of weeks when I've had a little bit more time with it, I'm not against doing that as well. Just let me know down in the comments if you want to see that. But it doesn't look like we're going to get to see a goal, which is ever so frustrating. But we have been the better team. We're doing well. I've not managed Liverpool yet this year. I've tried to manage against them and they were quite hard to beat. I suspect they were playing a different system to the one I'm using, because I'm finding them quite hard to win with. Although we might grab a goal just on the stroke of half-time here. Frimpong pushing forward on that right-hand side and misses. Brilliant. Boys and girls, we're going to wrap the video up there. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, including the start of my big series for the year, Non-League to Legend, that started earlier today. Make sure you check that out. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. And like I say, for the first time ever, it'll be easy to follow for you console lot, because it's the same game. And thank you very much for watching. Oh, a goal! We did a goal right at the end. There you go. I even got to show you a goal as well. Chiesa scores for Liverpool. And now we can end the video knowing that at least we got to see a goal on the console version. And it just looks exactly the same as PC, which that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. I've said for years they should be closer together. So I think that's a positive. I think.